Hi, Gemini. Welcome to a special reading for manifestation for the rest of 2022. I'm Raina, and I have done like multiple month readings in the past just to have an excuse to do a different type of reading. And I think that this is a good time for it because I feel like a lot of this year has led up to the last few months of this year. It seems like things are starting to rock and roll a little bit. And manifestation is really what you make of it. You may have an idea that you want to bring, Gemini, you're a lot of you are good at writing, so you might have a writing project. So it doesn't have to be that you want a new car or anything like that, but it could be a new relationship, anything. So let's look at the energy around that, and I will explain each position. This is a different spread than I normally do. And yeah, like even this card, I can say it can even be on the emotional level that you're looking to manifest, like a new way of operating with other people. Yeah, I mean, this is really looking like relationship stuff to me for whatever reason. So those of you, I was going to say, I always say, like when I see that 10 of Wands, I think of those Geminis who have inner planets in Cancer or something, or maybe the moon in Pisces or Cancer, because, and this is, I think, connected to Cancer, because it's that, I'm going to pick an additional card. There's a lot of, I don't know if I'd say drama, but like weariness and weariness. Okay, well, there you go. That's quite different. Okay, that's a nice vibe to end with. Okay, so let's start. So in terms of manifestation, the issue of the Nine of Wands comes around. The Nine of Wands is a card of erecting boundaries. You see the person's look. It's a wary expression. Sometimes people confuse the word wary and weary, meaning tired. Wary is kind of like suspicious, having your guard up, guarded about someone or something, I suppose, but I'm going to say someone. So typically, this can mean somebody that has created problems in your life and maybe you've broken free of them, but they're still kind of sniffing around, or in some cases, I will say that a person can foolishly believe that that person has changed. Well, I shouldn't say that. I do believe people can change. I'm thinking more of the narcissistic type of person that I feel like this kind of person would be on guard about, because sometimes it's very hard to break free from them in the first place. It takes a lot of self-awareness and courage, because sometimes that person has broken you down. So if you have, dealt with somebody who's kind of played tricks on your mind, mind games, and done things that made you feel like they were they didn't have your best interests at heart, that can definitely wear someone down and make them, question everything around them. And one of the things, like, and some of you may have even gone through therapy for it, so that you could learn what was normal in a relationship, what wasn't, and when you were through with that relationship, or even in the relationship, erecting boundaries. You might still be in the relationship, though, now that I think about it. And you're just like realizing that this is this is a toxic pattern. Maybe sometimes the person is nice, and then, like, for instance, with drinking or cheating, those are two things that wreak havoc on relationships. And they're two things that the other person can vow that they'll never do again, and then they do again. So you might be like in that relationship, both wary and wary, but setting boundaries. And you want, or maybe you want to have boundaries because you know that you don't. And I usually have a card of like what, prompted you to be like this. And we have the Seven of Swords. So this is a card of strategizing on your own. And I would say, especially if you're with someone who is actually scary, like very controlling, and you're afraid of this person, you may have to, because I call this a sleeping with the enemy card, if you ever saw that Julia Roberts movie. When I was younger, I used to watch that movie a lot. I just loved that psychodrama angle from it, that scorpionic angle. And that idea of having to kind of strategize on your own or extricate yourself from a situation in a way that you were not found out, or that it was very like a clean cut. You know how if you break up with somebody and they have very low self-esteem, that's why I'm saying dangerous, because some people, that's why they're controlling in the first place. They have very, very low self-esteem. And but even like a job situation, sometimes if you quit a job very flamboyantly, openly, and defiantly, that person, if they're like a boss from hell, a narcissistic boss, they could, try to damage your reputation in the industry. And people do that. I know they do that in Hollywood. Somebody files a sexual harassment charge and then they're blackballed, or other, issues, they're blackballed. Those kinds of things. Who does something like that? It makes sense that you would get away from somebody who would even do something like that in the first place. Also, the Seven of Swords can be the cheating or stealing. Who knows? Maybe this is a sibling that you love, but who has a drug addiction or something, and they steal from loved ones, or a child, God forbid. But it does happen, and you want to believe them, but now you realize you have to set boundaries, even if they're an adult. Some parents have allowed their adult children to live in their home because they don't want them to be out on the streets, even if they know they have an addiction. And then they start stealing from them, and then they realize, whoa, this is much more than I thought it was. So whatever is going on, I feel like it's going on. Maybe you just found out something that made it painfully obvious that something was going on. So these are two cards on how you can get the ball rolling in dealing with this. One of this is the Eight of Cups, leaving what no longer serves you. You're in a relationship where it actually feels like you're blocking your spiritual progress, or that your self-esteem is plummeting. When you're in a situation where maybe even physical health in some cases, although I would say with cups, it's emotions that are being brought up to the surface. Or a job. I mean, I feel like in some cases, if it's a job or a relationship, there may have been at one time that you actually felt strong feelings, that you were in love with the person, or that you really loved what you were doing, but it's no longer for you. Sometimes, like for instance, a profession like education, where there's been a lot of reforms, it's not the work itself, it's all of the red tape, or the changes that they have made. Or maybe even in the healthcare field, maybe there was a time when it was a lot more wholesome, pure. You didn't feel like you were doing things that were detrimental to others. You know what I mean? Because sometimes when they implement certain things, it doesn't improve the experience for the person they're trying to do it, whether it's healthcare or in education or some other field. It's just, you feel like it's going in the wrong direction. Let's put it that way. And you really want to do things that you feel comfortable doing. Another card is the Ten of Wands. So I would say in a lot of cases, this is just really looking at your relationship, if you're currently in a relationship with that person, or if you're thinking about getting back with somebody, think about the history of that relationship. Do you feel that that person really is, it's a two-sided relationship, or do you feel like you were the one doing the heavy lifting in the relationship? The Ten of Wands can be a burden. This could be a card of the burdens of success, as one of my books calls it. So in that case, you get a promotion and then you realize that it's just a lot of more work and hours and you don't have time to do anything. You have this glory that you can't really do anything about. And the boundaries can be like what you're willing to do for your career. The wands can be created, connected to career matters. And also fire signs, which means autonomy, standing in your power. So not letting someone walk all over you so they can get what they want, that kind of thing. And being able to do something that benefits yourself more, and not apologizing for it. So what's coming in is the Queen of Cups. This is a very psychic card. It's also the card, it's a very motherly kind of card. So some of the possibilities, and it is connected to Cancer, as is the Six of Cups. I think somebody said it, Scorpio was connected to that card, and I even looked online. I think they said Scorpio. I say it's Cancer for sure because of what it represents. But anyway, if, for instance, you are someone who is with a person who is not trustworthy, then this can be you really honing in on your psychic ability to sense that, to really know what's going on. I feel, though, with the Seven of Swords, that you already suspected if you haven't actually caught wind of it. This is also a card of, just in terms of the spiritual, just maybe meditation. To me, it's like the minor arcana version of the High Priestess in certain ways. So this idea of meditation on a daily basis, especially for monkey mind Geminis, that always thinking, overthinking, that could lead to anxiety, being able to stabilize that so that you can have a stable nervous system, so that you can, not overreact to your life. And it's interesting, I could have left it here. It actually would make a lot of sense, but I don't know. It seemed like kind of paranoid. The outcome, the Page of Swords, this can be like really, the first phrase that came into my mind was watching your back. And that's what that person is doing. But it's really like, in some cases, like if somebody's in the workplace and they are sensing that because this Seven of Swords can also be somebody stealing your ideas in the workplace, and making them their own. And you may not be in a high position, and that may be what this card represents, is asking you to realize that you're carrying a big load and somebody else is taking all the glory for your ideas. And believe me, I am sure that happens more times than we know. And it's like, why are you agreeing to do this? Are you fear-based? Are you afraid of not having a job? So the Page of Swords can also be documentation. So if you have to file some kind of complaint against practices in the workplace, you have the receipts. I think I said that right. The tea. I think you spill the tea, you get the receipts. Uh, that's me trying to be hip, right? Um, and so the other thing too is just in your private life, if you are looking for another job, researching, that could be the Page of Swords, getting information. Swords are related to air signs like you. So, and also Page to me can be like maybe reading a book. Pages can be messages, but I would put books in that category. Reading a book about how to um, look at your thoughts in a different way so that you're not living life in the sense of being at the mercy of your thoughts. And so that, along with that, could be about meditation, but also kind of what, Eckhart Tolle talks about, which is about, or maybe more like Byron Katie, self-inquiry, which is kind of really breaking down your thoughts to their essence. And then I picked a clarification card. I got the Six of Cups. This is a card of nostalgia, childhood. It can be the card of the soulmate too. But in terms of childhood, it can be that card of simpler times when things were a lot less complicated in life. And, maybe things have gotten too complicated. Maybe you need to go back to basics to have the kind of life that, suits you better. And then you'll feel a sense of freedom, a sense of creativity. Maybe that's because I feel like the Queen of Cups can be, really associated with getting in touch with that. And that can, this, I feel like sometimes the Six of Cups can be, what is it that you love to do as a child that you kind of pushed aside that really could be something you came into this incarnation really wanting to do and you just kind of ignored it. All right, that's what I have for you, Gemini, and I hope that this gave you food for thought. If you would like a personal reading, I have a life path reading for those people who are kind of going through, looking at kind of confusion about what their purpose is, what they want to do. Obviously, I can't tell you, oh yes, you should definitely do, this is your life purpose, point blank. But it can give validation because sometimes when you are a creative person or a spiritually minded person, it's not something that is supported in our Western culture in any case. But even in the Eastern cultures, they may, want you to become an engineer or something left-brained, actually. They could do the same thing, now that I think about it. And these kinds of paths are very intuitive, and not everybody is suited for the left brain world. I really think it should be right brain, because I write with my left hand. I'm left-handed in that sense, and that's like off the beaten path. But anyway, so I have like a deep dive reading, which is double reading. Astrologically, these are astrological readings, and an hour of natal chart interpretation, hour of upcoming transits for the next 12 months for a special price. But I have standalone readings as well. You can find all that information at the link below. Have a great rest of 2022. Thanks for watching. Bye.